Hey, this is Dawn again, out here in the garage, working on this Jeep. I know it's been a while since we visited last. I'll explain. See, I've got this Jeep in this house here in Utah, and I've got a boat up in Seattle, and I've still got a job, and I've got these parents who are even older than me that live up in Montana. Now they're getting up there in age and health ain't so great these days. So in between the last trip to Seattle, I took some time and went over to Montana, see them old people. Now, I'm back in Salt Lake, and I've got me some parts here I'm planning on unboxing and putting on this Jeep here. I can't really remember what I was doing the last time I worked on this thing, but it appears to me I still got a fair amount of work to do before this thing's ready to drive again. So let's get on with it, shall we? All right, well, what I've got in these boxes here is some fender flares. So my freshly painted tub here needs some flares on these fenders, and that's what's in this box here. So I'm gonna unbox that and see how those look. I think I got some of those little bumpers that go on top of the grill, so the hood can bump on it and not bump on my paint. So I'm gonna work on that. And out there in the Jeep graveyard, we don't say graveyard around here. Out there in the Jeep resting place, are parts off the old Jeep. And I think what we've got out there is we've got the windshield washer squirter thing that is totally missing from this Jeep. And so I'll probably go out there and see if I can't rustle that thing up. So yeah. That's my plan. And if we get all that done, I might do some more stuff, but one thing at a time, right? Yeah, one thing at a time. That's been the story of this Jeep. That's why it's taken so damn long. I have to do one thing at a time and I forget what I'm doing. But anyway, I remember now. I'm fixing this thing up, making her better than before. So I'm gonna do that. All right, well, there's a fender flare, and there's a fender that it's got to go into, but it didn't line up very good. If I put the front end in, then the back end's sticking way out, and it looks like what we're gonna have to do is bend that thing quite a bit to get it up in here. So it's gonna be a little doing to get these in. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab one of my little quick clamps, clamp it here a couple spots. So let me do that. We'll check the fit here, hang on. This is the back part, right? And I don't know if you'll be able to see this very good, but it is curved just a little bit, which is gonna kind of set the thing right here on this fender flare or the fender itself where it starts to curve around. So that's kind of our guide spot, if you will. So I'm probably gonna clamp that dude first. Sure I am. Definitely not a one-man project this is gonna be. I'm gonna probably need some help because these are pretty stiff. And again, they're just, you know, the U, this thing is not quite shaped to exactly match the U of our fender. So I can get it in there and hold it there, but this clamp doesn't want to grab enough of it to really hold it. Try it one more time. There we go. That might be good. So there we go. That doesn't look too bad. We're not quite there, and the screw holes for this thing, let's look at the other one. So this is the lip that's going against the fender opening. Here's our screw holes. So we got to get this up in there somehow, get those marked somehow, because we don't have any holes in our existing fender, and then drill through our new paint. We're not really looking forward to that step. But yeah, there's a rough fit. I think that will probably be okay. I'm not gonna try and clamp it in another spot just yet. I might just leave it there and see if maybe it gets it to take a set a little bit of how it's got to fit in there. I checked one of the front ones a minute ago. Put it back in the thing so it doesn't get all scratched up. But I'll swing you around. We'll have a look at the front fender, shall we? See. All right, so here we are at the front fender. Same kind of routine. It's got to kind of go in there and flex a bit. But that's how that should look. Same thing applies. If we look closely, we've got a curve here that's going to fit the curve of our fender. And same up here, a little bit of a curve to fit in the front, but same thing still. It's just really doesn't want to flex in there without some real persuasion. So we'll see if, again, maybe I can get this to clamp in place. There we go. All right, well, we're kind of taking the back entrance into the Jeep graveyard out here, and it looks like a graveyard, doesn't it? Holy cow. So here's our old dash off the CJ-5 and our old firewall. So somewhere on that guy, I think, is our windshield washer squirter. Although I don't see it. I think maybe it was supposed to be right there. While we're out here, I'm gonna look at the back of the dashboard. I think I mentioned that we don't think there's any way to hook the gauges to the back of the dash. So yeah, on the old one, there's definitely screws here for the speedometer. Doesn't look like there was anything for anything else. So it's really just a speedometer we got to deal with. I mean, there's one there, but that was for a speaker behind that grill there, so I don't think that's an issue. There's our old windshield off the CJ7 or CJ5. So we might salvage our, well, we will salvage our gear for our windshield washer arms, or wiper arms there. And I think the windshield itself is probably fine. Have to get a new seal, I'm sure, but
Well, we made it in and out of the Jeep resting place out there with no incident. It's a mess. It's such a mess. But I have new gates on my fence, which is a whole saga. But I got out there and I got this little doodad disconnected. The one was missing off of the CJ-5 firewall portion that's still out there. So my guess is probably in some box of parts around there somewhere I already have one of these, because I obviously took it off the CJ-5. However, I've got out the CJ-7, so it's just a little threaded insert that goes through the hole you drill, and then it's got a 90-degree hose bend with a nut on it. However, for sure, right up there between the cowl vent and the windshield frame is where that thing goes, and there is no hole for that. So, gonna have to drill a hole there, just like we're gonna have to drill a hole for our fenders. I have them kind of clamped in place here. I'm gonna go get me some little 3-inch C-clamps. I got some of those, but they're up on the boat right now, and they're pretty cheap little clamps. And I think I'll have to kind of clamp that in several places and then get to drilling. Figure out, I'm not sure how I'm gonna mark the holes because, well, let's see if we can get any light on the subject down here. Probably not enough to let you see it. Well, I can't get enough light in there to let you see it, but I have to drill the holes on the part of this fender that's, you know, the holes have to go that way through the fender, and I have to get up under here to get to where I can at least mark it and then drill them. So that's going to take a little doing, and so I have to get working on that, and then I'll figure out what size hole I need to drill for this thing. But I was slightly enthused to find that the only thing really missing any mounting screws on the back of that dash is the speedometer cluster, or the speedometer gauge in the center. And I think I mentioned that I'm gonna put one of those GPS thermometers in here. Thermometer? How many times? How many times have I called it a thermometer? Speedometer for figuring out how fast you're going. Good hell. Anyway, I'm going to probably wrap this for now because I got to go get a ton of shopping done before I can go any further. So I'll be back at some point.